won the toss and they've decided to play into Hill 16 in the first half here at Croke Park. There is a gentle breeze, nothing more than that, which will aid Cork in the first half. The referee, this year's Munster football final referee, Cormac Riley from Meath. Last Mayo match he took charge of was their league meeting with Dublin here at Croke Park back in March. Cork have done a lot of soul searching since that Munster final defeat. They ripped up the game plan for the Sligo qualifier. What way will they line up? Will they go defensive again? That's the expectation. They'll go with double sweepers.
Yes, and it's quite interesting actually. Donald Vaughan has gone up centre half forward and the O'Shea brothers are in the middle of the field to start the game.
Kerry waiting in the wings. There's Keith Higgins in the Mayo half-forward line, and that was way over the head of Cillian O'Connor and trickles out and goes wide. The wires crossed with Keith Higgins and Cillian O'Connor. Ken O'Halloran's kick goes right down the middle. Ian Maguire went flying up after it. Colin Boyle has it for Mayo. Here's Aidan O'Shea starting at midfield. Owen Cadigan there with Andy Moran. That's going to be quite a tussle. We thought Cadigan might go with Cillian O'Connor. And is this the first point of the game? Ken O'Halloran saying it's wide, but it's gone over, and it's an absolute corker from Jason Doherty. We mentioned that he's emerging as a real leader for this group, and that's a fabulous point. Mayo lead in the second minute.
Yeah, I thought it was a wonderful score altogether. A great Connacht final, and he just takes up from where he left off that game. That was a very good score from a difficult angle.
Thomas Clancy playing it to Mark Collins. Really precise with the foot pass, and that's up towards Colm O'Neill, and O'Neill somehow managed to get the ball away, and then Aidan Walsh, well, Paul Kerrigan moved too far ahead of him. Ian Maguire's onto it, scored a point on his championship debut against Sligo, but a loose hand pass, and Aidan O'Shea lets it off, and now Shamey bombing forward. Andy Moran is out in front of Cadigan. Cadigan is tigerish and teak tough and just will not give up, and he's got the ball back. Brian O'Driscoll, his brother Colm, playing in the half-forward line, or playing as another Cork sweeper. Colm O'Neill. O'Neill got that wrong on his weaker right boot, and Brian Hurley in close to goal, been picked up by Chris Barrett, has got it. Hurley, poor attempt really at a point, easily caught by Robbie Hennelly. Brian Hurley's loss of form since the league has been a big talking point in Cork. Kevin McLaughlin going forward really unchallenged. Cillian O'Connor, that was for Alan Dillon. Passes just not finding their mark in the Mayo forward line.
Not at the moment, and actually Lee Keegan, I'm just noticing that the other side of the field has picked up Paul Kerrigan. He started very far back in the full back line, and it seems that Keith Higgins is the loose man, the cover, so to speak, in the Mayo defence.
Ball won back by Colin Boyle. Cork, as that ball was played forward with their two sweepers, had just 4 attackers inside the Mayo half. Alan Dillon driving that in towards Cillian O'Connor. Shields caught. O'Connor penalised though. He had hold of the Cork defender just as well from a Cork point of view.
Yeah, and another day he got away with this. Just watch it again. He got the arm across. I think it was Michael Shields, and okay, the goalkeeper Ken O'Halloran made a good stop, but that 1-against-1 situation is something Mayo will try and exploit today.
James Lockery, the Antrim man. It's Colm O'Driscoll. Thomas Clancy plays his club football with Clonakilty. Ballincollig, Noel Galvin wears 4. Now Aidan Walsh and Andy Moran pressing. The discussion about streetwise tactics described in some of the papers as banter, it certainly added a little bit of spice to the build-up to this. Mark Collins. Cork keeping the ball, but having to use a fair bit of energy to get it inside Mayo territory. Brian has done well. Now it's Ian Maguire. Maguire to Colm O'Neill. O'Neill can't wriggle free from Cafferty. Well, he can actually, and then another Mayo man comes across him, and they've given away a foul and a free in. Tom Caniff asking, was it me? Let's find out.
Yeah, a lot of heat being applied that time to Colm O'Neill by Ger Cafferty initially, and then Tom Caniff came in, and I think the jersey is pulled in that situation, so the free kick is deserved. But just going back, I thought actually Jason Doherty was taken out of the play, and the referee might have seen that and awarded a free the other direction.
Brian Hurley. Cork's first point with just 5 minutes on the watch.
Yeah, with 5 minutes on the watch, it's interesting. All right, Cork have gone back to the system they had the last day of Mark Collins and Colin Driscoll back in their half-back line.
Accurate kick out from Robbie Hennelly to Kevin McLaughlin. Over the head of Aidan O'Shea. Andy Moran out quickly. Owen Cadogan, his shadow. It's a Mayo ball. Jason Doherty has scored one spectacular point already. That's going to drop. Oh! Michael Shields let it go, expecting Ken O'Halloran to come out for it. The result is a 45, but it could so easily have gone into the back of the net.
That's a wonderful instinctive save from Ken O'Halloran. Everybody left it to everyone else, and O'Halloran at the last second stuck out a right foot and prevented what looked a certain goal. Just watch it. The goalkeeper kind of thought that Michael Shields was going for it. Michael Shields left it to Ken O'Halloran. Verjuice to Ken O'Halloran. That instinctive stuff certainly kind of prevented what I thought would have been a very, very fortuitous goal for Mayo.
Cillian O'Connor with the 45. How's he hit that? Well, the answer is not well. And for a free taker, that's not a great start.
No, for a guy of his quality, actually. Normally very, very good at those type of kicks, but didn't get hold of that at all.
Short kick out from Ken O'Halloran. Michael Shields. And Shields hasn't been a good 60 seconds or so for those two guys, but Shields touching the ball, playing on the ground. And a needless mistake. Aidan O'Shea is in pretty close to the Cork goal. Forced to go back the long way. Cillian O'Connor missed the 45. That is close. It's good. It's good. Seemed to tail away just at the last moment. Making up for his miss. Mayo lead 2-1.
Yeah, good win, a good, I think it was Aidan O'Shea won the ball initially, withstood a lot of pressure, left it out to Cillian O'Connor. I felt myself from this angle here that the ball had actually drifted wide, but the umpires were in the right place. They seemed to think it otherwise.
No need for Hawkeye. Aidan Walsh. Mark Collins. Ian Maguire has started pretty well. Now Paul Kerrigan. Kerrigan. Wasn't a great decision. Colm O'Neill had taken up a decent position in close to Robbie Hennelly, the Mayo goalkeeper.
And it just looks to me, to be honest about it, just Cork has started they're very, very jittery, unsure of themselves, both defensively and up front. That was a wayward kick by Paul Kerrigan that time.
Well, they haven't had long to get this system honed down, and it was a gamble against Sligo. Will the gamble pay off and reward them with a place in the All-Ireland semi-final? Mark Collins. Donald Vaughan coming towards him. Aidan O'Shea. Brian O'Driscoll. And now Thomas Clancy. Ian Maguire and the other sweeper, Colm O'Driscoll, have gone with him. O'Driscoll was calling for that. Gets away from Seamus O'Shea. Now possibilities for Brian Hurley of Cork, taking a fair bit out of the ball and allowing Mayo to get back at him. Chris Barrett is close to him. Hurley waiting for support. Ian Maguire didn't fancy the shot. Fintan Gould, May on his right boot. Fintan Gould, over it goes. Good point. Had the ball for a long time there, and the shot eventually came from Fintan Gould. 2 each.
Yeah, young Maguire was involved in that again. Let the ball out to Gould, who was in a good position to support him. and that's a good equalising score for Cork. But there was much more enterprise to that. I thought, Brian Hurley showed quite well, won the ball well initially in that, and lads who has disappointed in the last couple of games and hasn't kind of replicated his league form.
Well, Brian Cuthbert was saying in the lead up to the game that he's been very tightly marked, double teamed, triple teamed at times. There were 4 markers when he played against Tipperary. Here's Andy Moran. That's for Cillian O'Connor. Shields was at his shoulder. Aidan Walsh taking a couple of risks but managed to get the ball out of danger, and to Mark Collins, his teammate. Colm O'Driscoll, Jason Doherty closing down and fouling.
It's interesting just watching the way the teams are structured at the moment. Tom Caniff is sweeping in the Mayo half of the field. Nobody up there whatsoever. The fact that both Collins and Colm O'Driscoll have gone back has left only 2 Cork forwards up, and they'll have to work the ball up in a counter-attacking way as much as possible.
While Aidan Walsh has the ball right here inside the Cork 65-metre line, the Mayo 65-metre line, there are 3 Cork forwards. Mark Collins has now got ahead of Owen Cadigan. Joining is Brian O'Driscoll and Mark Collins again. Ian Maguire is available. Collins with that precise pass in towards Brian Hurley. Brilliant take from Hurley. Is this his moment? Hurley has got 1 point from a free. Now he's got 1 from play. And Cork lead for the first time in this All-Ireland quarter-final. That was good football.
Oh, that's brilliant instant control that time from Hurley. Would suit a couple of challenges and took a good score, but it's the control from the pass that really made the score.
Aidan O'Shea. Tom Caniff and Lee Keegan. Andy Moran got away from Michael Shields but slipped. Thomas Clancy. There's Jason Doherty with Clancy. Kevin McLaughlin was joining as well, and Clancy stayed calm. Colm O'Driscoll is the older of the 2 brothers on the Cork team. Fintan Gould showing well. James Lockery is attacking, and there's a fair bit of space for Brian O'Driscoll to work in. Handling error and another one, but he's got the ball under control. Faced with Lee Keegan of Mayo. James Lockery knows what to do in these areas. Lockery, if he can back it up in the quarter-final, but he can't. Second wide for Cork. They still lead by 3 points to 2, and the Mayo fans getting restless.
Getting a bit restless. Too many Cork players are getting up the field too easily. The likes of James Lockery that time got through with a shot at goals. Very little pressure on him.
Cork twice as many scoring chances created as last year's beaten All-Ireland finalist Donal Vaughan, who was born in Kanturk in Cork. Keith Higgins. Higgins gets the snapshot away. It's a 45. Well, the umpire has signalled a 45, but Cormac Riley, the referee, is saying it was wide, and now it has been called as wide by the umpire, who seemed to think that a Cork defender got a touch on that shot from Higgins, but it's called as wide anyway.
Yes, and there's some very hard hitting going on at the moment. The Mayo half-forward line is tackling very hard up in that forward situation, and tackles almost are going in hard and fast.
Kevin McLaughlin still down injured. It's up towards Brian Hurley as the Cork confidence continues to grow. Hurley, fantastic pace. Hurley through! Puts it over for a point, but Robbie Hennelly looked exposed there. Cork lead by 4 points to 2.
Good score once again from Hurley. Takes on Ger Cavalier straight across him and takes a good score with the outside of the right foot. But I noticed Cormac Riley going down to the far side of the pitch at the moment. I think Kevin McLaughlin was involved in an incident with a Cork defender, and the referee's gone down to take a look at what happened.
Yeah, there's blood coming from Kevin McLaughlin's eye. This is the incident with Owen Cadigan.
Yes, Owen Cadigan left the elbow back that time. It's quite clear, and caught him over the eye, and I think that's what resulted in the blood. Well,
Kevin McLaughlin has had to go off to have that seen to. How much of that did Cormac Riley actually see? We've got the benefit of the replays. Michael Conroy is coming on as a blood sub. very definitely a blood sub. Here's Mark Collins. James Horan is roaring instructions at his players. There's a big crowd here. The managers and the players at times shouting at each other. And there's Seamus O'Shea, and he reacted as well. We did expect a bit of needle between these two counties. Sure, we had the verbal banter about streetwise tactics, but you go back to the 2012 league final, and also even as far back as the 06 under-21 All-Ireland final between these two counties. At times, no love lost between Cork and Mayo. Aidan Walsh, James Lockery, Noel Galvin. Cork written off by almost everybody in the build-up to this game. Mayo, well, pressure on them to perform as favourites and to get back to the semi-final and win their fourth consecutive All-Ireland quarter-final. Thomas Clancy, Ian Maguire, Aidan Walsh. Cork been allowed to play their football, and Brian Hurley has scored 3 of their 4 points. Fancies another one, Hurley, and the eye is very definitely in, and that's a gorgeous point from Brian Hurley. The player who starred for Cork during the league is back, and back in style. 5-2.
Yeah, and it's at the moment I think Chris Barrett is marking him, but their tactics are working to perfection at the moment. That early ball into the space that has been created up front has been really kind of maximised, and that's another great score for Hurley.
Cork with 4 unanswered points. Mayo last scored in the 7th minute. Donal Vaughan, Alan Dillon, Cork with 11-12 players behind the ball, happy to give away the free. Michael Conroy leaves it to Cillian O'Connor.
Yes, and they look much livelier. Cork much, after the first 5 minutes or so, much sharper, much livelier than Mayo.
Michael Conroy, angle tricky, needs somebody to come towards him. Andy Moran did, the Mayo captain. Aidan O'Shea is available also. They go back to Colin Boyle. Seamus O'Shea has got free. O'Shea there with Aidan Walsh. Mark Collins trying to get on his toe, and that is a lovely point. They've got 3 in the game, and they've all been spectacular looking scores. 5-3 now.
Yeah, they're all spectacular, you might say, Dara, but every one of them has been hard work. The Cork defensive system is making them work very, very hard for whatever scores they're getting. Damien O'Shea took that one very well off his weaker foot.
Cork playing this way wasn't going to be a surprise to Mayo, but it's taken them a bit of time to figure it out. Tom Caniff, Alan Dillon. It's not very dark overhead. Keith Higgins. Tom Caniff having a crack on his left boot. Well taken, Ken O'Halloran. Mistake by Mark Collins. James Lockery spares his blushes. Owen Cadigan has 3 in his back, but it's Michael Shields who is playing in at full-back, marking Andy Moran. Tom Caniff taking a fair bit of punishment, eventually gets his free.
Yeah, as you said earlier, Dara, the exchanges are quite physical out there. No love lost, definitely.
Cillian O'Connor outside of his right boot. Another spectacular point.
Yeah, that's a beautifully frighted point. Good ball from Aidan O'Shea that time. Quick thinking, and Cillian O'Connor outside of the boot from a central position fires over a good score. That should start to kind of give Mayo a little bit more confidence.
Well, he was roaring at them, James Horan, and he's got a reaction. They've scored the last 2, trailing by 1. Right down the middle from Ken O'Halloran. Fintan Gould had it, lost it. Here come Mayo with Keith Higgins. Springing their step now. There's a gap for Aidan O'Shea, and Aidan O'Shea dragged down by Thomas Clancy. Is there a black card coming for Thomas Clancy? I fancy there will be. There's certainly a Mayo free, but Aidan O'Shea, had he got away from Clancy, was in 1-on-1 with Ken O'Halloran, and Thomas Clancy black carded in the 19th minute. No question or doubt about that.
No, Aidan O'Shea's strength made this. He just drove straight at the heart of the Cork defence. Tomas Clancy pulled him by the togs, pulled him by whatever he could get a grip on. And if there was ever a case for a black card, well, that was one. So he can't have any complaints about it.
Jamie O'Sullivan will be his replacement. And this free will tie the game up. Level for the third time. 5 each.
You just watch it again. Clancy just takes the togs of Aidan O'Shea that time. It's the first time Aidan O'Shea's got a drive at the centre of that Cork defence, and maybe they need to get a little bit more of that. Maybe that is where there is a vulnerability.
Owen Cadigan's handling error. Here come Mayo with Cillian O'Connor. That's Michael Shields behind him. Michael Conroy is screaming for it. McLaughlin is still off the park. Conroy blocked down by Cadigan, and it breaks well for Noel Galvin and for Cork, and they can build from the back again. Aidan Walsh, he's lost it, and now Seamus O'Shea is in. Michael Conroy screaming for it, Alan Dillon as well. O'Shea goes with the fist, and Mayo lead by 6 points to 5. Cork, architects of their own downfall there.
Yeah, good pressure being exerted by Mayo that time. Seamus O'Shea, probably good run from Alan Dillon, but O'Shea took responsibility, kept calm in the situation, fired a good score to put Mayo into the lead. And just looking back at that opportunity from Mickey Conroy, maybe he was a little bit slow in letting the ball off that time. He had a good opportunity.
Kevin McLaughlin is ready to come back in. He's had that eye injury patched up, and he's going to be wearing number 27. Paul Kerrigan. Mayo have got the last 4 points. Cork got the last 4 before that. They find themselves 1 in arrears. Colm O'Neill. O'Neill put his foot right through that, and Colm O'Neill has scored. 4th time level.
That's an absolute beauty that time. And Kerrigan again gets the ball. Surprising in some respects that he's been marked by Lee Keegan. I thought he'd been more suited to the likes of Colm Boyle on him, but O'Neill's confidence in the way he struck that is delightful.
Jason Doherty, good catch initially, fouled on the way down, and Jamie O'Sullivan straight into the action. Ball moved forward for his clear descent. Donald Vaughan. Keith Higgins in acres of space. And my apologies, it's Damien Cahalane who's come in. Jason Doherty, back to Alan Dillon. Lee Keegan. And look at Keith Higgins in the full forward line. Andy Moran is for Owen Cadigan slipped. Moran did the same, and Cork surround Andy Moran. Difficult for the referee to make a decision here, and he probably will throw the ball in to restart the game, and then the tensions and the tempers flare.
Yeah, and those tensions were just below the surface for the entire game. That time Andy Moran got away with a half fall on his defender, you know, and got on the ball eventually. But just prior to that, Keith Higgins was in acres of space had he been spotted. As the extra man at the back, at times he has kind of drifted up into attacking situations, and a little bit more perception on the part of Mayo might have actually exploited that last situation.
So there's Kevin McLaughlin with the new jersey, and Aidan O'Shea and Aidan Walsh compete. Colm O'Driscoll, Fintan Gould, Aidan Walsh. Paul Kerrigan was screaming for it, now he's got it. Lee Keegan is there with him. A Cork player has gone to ground clutching his face. Closest to him is Kevin McLaughlin. I think it's Fintan Gould who's down. Very definitely off the ball. Who saw what?
Yeah, I didn't see anything that time now, to be honest. We need to see that in replay.
Linesman on the far side may have seen it, and he's going to be spoken to by Cormac Riley, the referee. Watch the left side.
Yeah, certainly Kevin McLaughlin came across and body checked him, and depends now what the linesman saw. Again, if it was a deliberate body check, that is a black card offence.
Yeah. Accidental or deliberate is the judgment that the referee has to make. How much did the linesman see? And he's Over with Kevin McLaughlin. He's only back on the pitch about 60 seconds or so of playing time anyway. It's a yellow card. Your judgment on that, Martin?
Judgment on that again. Okay, we got a long distance shot, but just watch it here now over on the other side, on the right hand side. McLaughlin definitely comes across it. I think it's more a coming together of the two of them, and certainly it wasn't a black card because I don't think there was any deliberate intent in that.
So Cork with a free, which Aidan Walsh will take in the 25th minute. That looks good. It's fantastic. We've been treated to some really, really fine long-range point scoring. Cork leading by 7 points to 6, thanks to that monster from Aidan Walsh.
Yeah, when you consider primarily he's a hurler, that is a beautiful strike. Credit to him.
Cork with more of the ball. Aidan O'Shea had the ball, lost it. Fintan Gould wins it back. Damien Cahalane. Aidan Walsh. Donald Vaughan came charging towards him. Brian O'Driscoll. Damien Cahalane played well when he came on against Sligo and Tullamore last weekend. Ian Maguire. Bit of space for him to run straight at Mayo. Back for the help of Paul Kerrigan. Free foul by Jason Doherty.
Yeah, I think the referee's patience is starting to run a little bit thin, and in Doherty's case this time pulls him down. I think he's just having a word with him. I don't think he booked him in any way that time, just noticed his name.
We've had 12 frees so far in the game. 6 against each side. This one is a little further out, but he'll fancy it. Cork have scored the last 2. The connection with that wasn't so good. Tester, great catch from Fintan Gould. He caught 6 balls when he came on against Sligo. He's had at least 2, maybe 3 here. Colm O'Neill was caught. Here's Colm O'Driscoll. Aidan Walsh is screaming for it. He's free at the moment. Donald Vaughan has spotted him, and out of picture he's gone to stand close to Aidan Walsh. Poor pass in. Ger Cafferty got there ahead of Brian Hurley, and now it's Seamus O'Shea. Lee Keegan, quick hands. Seamus O'Shea, Lee Keegan. Brian Hurley has ended up in a heap. It's Andy Moran, Donald Vaughan, and Vaughan didn't make great contact with it. Sweeping in behind. James Lockery. Brian Hurley is still down, but he's no more than winded. Cork put under real pressure by Mayo on the way out. Here's Lee Keegan, fancies a go. Blocked down by Lockery. Killian O'Connor will have another crack at that. It's gone wide though. So that is Mayo's 4th wide.
Yeah, for that time, very good block on the attempt by Lee Keegan. Killian O'Connor took on the responsibility, but normally he's very composed in situations like that, but that's a bad wide for Mayo.
6 minutes since they last scored. They've both played in fits and starts. Michael Shields. No way out. Noel Galvin needs some support. It didn't come.
Fabulous pressure by the Mayo forwards, it must be said. You know, at times maybe some of the tackling is a little bit frenzied, but that time it was much more composed, and they will be certainly very happy with the way with what resulted from that pressure.
Seamus O'Shea faced with Ian Maguire. Maguire took his hands off the referee, playing an advantage. Alan Dillon taking the shot from the 45-metre line, and another brilliant point from way out the field. 7 each, level 5 times.
Yes, I think the referee had indicated an advantage that time. Seamus O'Shea was half fouled, but Alan Dillon from a good distance took on scored a great point, but some of the shooting from distance from both sets of players has been a joy.
That's for Fintan Gould. Got his hands on it, and on Colin Boyle as well. Damien Cahalane to Michael Shields. Killian O'Connor had a tug at the jersey. Colm O'Driscoll. Damien Cahalane. James Lockery is there with him, and his first instinct is to attack despite the number 2 in his back. Tom Caniff picks up the loose ball. Jason Doherty. Seamus O'Shea. Lee Keegan. Lots of space for Keegan. Cork have not been able to get the players back in the positions they would like. Donal Vaughan bursting through for Mayo. Vaughan scored 2-4 in a club match recently in the full forward line. Here's Andy Moran. Well, he's just teasing Owen Cadigan and others. Alan Dillon arrives to offer some support. 2 in a row for Dillon. Mayo in front. 5.5 minutes to the break.
Yeah, some great work initially. I think it was by Vaughan. Andy Moran held on to the ball, had the patience to look for support coming up, did a couple of lovely tricks with the ball, but Dillon, that'll do his confidence no good. They're two of the guys actually after the Connacht final whose positions on the team are questioned. They have both had very good first half so far.
Colin O'Driscoll, Mark Collins, Ian Maguire. Mark Collins running straight into Jason Doherty. Serious pressure being put on the Cork ball carriers. Here's Kevin McLaughlin. Hits the boost button. McLaughlin back to Alan Dillon, on for a hat-trick of points for Mayo. Will try and be provider this time. Keith Higgins. Kevin McLaughlin didn't get great power in the shot, and that's a tester for O'Halloran, but he's up to the task despite the pressure of Cillian O'Connor. Ian Maguire. Paul Kerrigan haven't been able to get the ball to him as often as they would like. Here he is now, Brian Hurley, as the ball is angled away from Cafferty. It was unusual. Cork still have it with Aidan Walsh. Colm O'Neill gets out in front of Chris Barrett. Colm O'Neill on his right boot, twisting, turning, getting away from his marker, and it's a point. Another good score.
That's a beautiful bit of football once again by O'Neill. Very tightly marked by Chris Barrett, but you know, lovely dummy onto his, what we would regard as his weaker foot. But he's played so well in very difficult circumstances at different times during the first half.
Colin Boyle. Lee Keegan. Donal Vaughan. There's a gap there. Fintan Gould was caught. Cork able to figure it out, and then Paul Kerrigan, and now it's Damien Cahalane. Lee Keegan is bursting a gut to get back at him. Keith Higgins there too. Cahalane is supremely strong, but Higgins supremely persistent, and his persistence paid off, and that comes to nothing from a Cork point of view. And Aidan O'Shea can open up from here. Paul Kerrigan screening in front of him. Colin Boyle. Cillian O'Connor making a dart out the field, and he's got some space on Michael Shields and goes with the left boot. Cillian O'Connor wide though.
Yeah, beautiful diagonal ball that time from Colin Boyle to Cillian O'Connor. O'Connor should have done probably a little bit better with that, because the quality of the ball, I think itself, you know, went unrewarded.
Brian O'Driscoll. Colin O'Driscoll, Damien Cahalane. Lee Keegan has won the free.
And therein lies the problem, you know, with the way Cork are set up at the moment. They have to keep the game short, they have to keep the hand passes tight, and basically there's not enough runs being made by the inside players.
The edge is back. Lee Keegan and Paul Kerrigan, the two players the referee wants to chat to.
Yeah, this has been rumbling right through the first half. There's a number of private little feuds going on throughout the pitch, and sooner or later it's going to explode into something a lot more significant.
Colin Boyle.
Come on, boys, keep it moving. Keep
That was James Horan's voice you can hear. Come on lads, keep it moving. Seamus O'Shea keeps it moving for Mayo, but it's a poor attempt at a pass for Tom Caniff, the sweeper who'd got forward.
Yes, and that's interesting who got forward that time. The cornerback, the Tom Caniff, who has been sweeper up to now, but just the movement from the Mayo forwards isn't penetrative enough, or isn't enough for the outside players to actually find somebody with.
Brian O'Driscoll, Michael Shields, his chance to go forward. Aidan O'Shea was fortunate, and it's a Cork free. He was unfortunate, pleads his innocence to referee Cormac Riley.
Yeah, no, there was a foot trip there. There is no doubt about it. I know it was accidental, but there was a foot trip there, and it's a correct decision. Free for Cork.
Colm O'Neill with the free. There'll be 1 minute added on at the end of the first half. Wind is helping him, and O'Neill, good catch by Robbie Hennelly. Chris Barrett on hand to effect the clearance for Mayo. Chris Barrett. Owen Cadigan was out in front of Andy Moran. Aidan Walsh and Paul Kerrigan. Cork have played some very fine football in the first half. Their defensive system has worked pretty well. Colm O'Neill. Is there one more scoring attempt at the end of the first half? The 1 minute has been and gone. Here comes Brian Hurley, who's been super during the first 35 minutes. Hurley looking to send Cork in ahead at half-time, but it has gone wide. It's wide number 3 for Cork.
They've been really impressed with Brian Hurley. He's got on the end of a lot of good moves. He's always a willing runner off the shoulder. That time somewhat unlucky, but he has caused the Mayo defence quite a lot of problems.
We've had scoring from both teams in fits and starts. 4 for Cork unanswered, 4 for Mayo unanswered, then 2 for Cork without reply, 2 more for Mayo without reply. And Colm O'Neill got the last point of the first half to send us in. We've been level 6 times, and we're level at the break here at Croke Park. 8 points apiece between Mayo and Cork, with Kerry in the semi-final.
Three days of world-class show jumping.
The best horses in the world with the best riders are here this afternoon.
Team Ireland compete in a bid to retain the Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's always a big test here to ride every fence and try and leave them all standing.
With the prestigious Nations Cup and the jaw-dropping Puissance also up for grabs.
He's done it. What an effort. Look, no hands.
Follow the thrills and spills live from the Dublin Horse Show. Coverage starts Friday at 1:45 on RTE1 and RTE1 HD.
In life, you cannot always choose what you do, but you can always choose who you are. We are the Sappers. With every brace and every cufflink, we say, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Rise for your county. Stand up for your colours. shout for your team. Make your shout count at aircom.ie/GAA. Aircom. All together now.
When I travel, I don't have to pay for any baggage. I get all the benefits of first-class travel, legroom, and I can use my phone. Hello? I can surf the internet, relax. Best of all, when I get here, my car is here. I like to call it a vacation. It's fantastic, like the ship.
Enjoy the best travel experience on the Irish Sea and take the kids for free. Book today at stanaline.ie.
Some moments teach you all you need to know about yourself. The Electric Ireland GAA Minor Championships. This is major.
Good drivers know you need to take the road seriously, and for that they deserve a serious reward.
Introducing the Drive Safer Reward from Liberty Insurance. If you've got 5 or more years no claims bonus on your fully comprehensive car insurance, we promise to cut 60% off your premium. And if you've got no penalty points, we'll cut another 28% off whatever's left. We want to help make the roads safer and save you money too, so call us today. Liberty Insurance. Car, home or van, it's insurance the way it should be.
Super Value, supporting hundreds of grassroots clubs and proud sponsors of the GAA Football Senior Championship.
It's half-time in this All-Ireland football quarter-final, and it's all square. Mayo, 8 points. Cork, 8 points. Let's have a look at the stats from that first half. It's all very tight and tense, not just in terms of the scores being level, but as you can see from the stats there, nothing really between the sides. I suppose the only difference there is the number of wides. Mayo with 6 in that first half, Cork with 3. Joe Brodie, Kieran Whelan, Colm O'Rourke still here with us in studio. Colm, as I said, it's all very tight. It's level at half-time. It could be level at the end of this match as well for the way it's going.
Yeah, I'd say Cork will be very happy going in now. They have steadied the ship from the league semi-final against a good team. Like the Sligo game, everybody expected them to win that. But after the humiliation by Kerry, their defensive system is working quite well. And Mayo are very cautious. They're not attacking with any great urgency at the moment. And they're getting caught at the back too. Like they've a bit of a mismatch in there. Brian Hurley and Colm O'Neill are making hay against Ger Cafferty. Chris Barrett. So I think Mayo have a bit of work to do in the dressing room at half-time. I think they have to realign their defence, realign their sweeper system. Everybody can see very clearly Cork have 2 sweepers and they're finding it very difficult to break out with the ball. But once they get up to the 2 inside men, they're causing lots of problems. So Mayo, I think, will have to throw more caution to the wind in the second half.
OK, Kieran, Colm referenced Cork's defence there. You've been looking at the way they've set up.
Yeah, well, it's kind of as we expected. We expected O'Driscoll and Collins to get back here, and here's a perfect example where O'Driscoll, you know, this if he wasn't there, you know, Moran turns his man and he popped that over the bar, and he ends up putting a ball in, 50-50 ball into Cillian O'Connor, and Cork have 5 men and coming back to sweep it up. So it has been effective, and what it's done is it's forced Mayo to kick long distance scores, and they have kicked 3 or 4 very good long distance scores. Here's Collins again, just good eye, reading the game well. Ball comes in and he just puts it out with his foot, and Cork are back on the front foot. The other aspect of it is, though, while Kniff is sitting back, Higgins has been left free, and this is the danger if Mayo commit more forward. Higgins gets this ball in space, and if we watch and track him, you know, this ended up with a goal chance, but nobody tracks him here, and he drifts in behind the defence. All Cork are pushing out. Now if a ball comes into him, it's in the back of the net.
Yeah.
So it's the downside of playing with 2 sweepers back there. Like nobody twigs it, and he's able to pick up a ball out wide then, and Andy Moran nearly created a goal chance. So it is the downside to playing with the 2 back.
Because
if Mayo commit more forward, and which they need to do, they could do damage.
And also a team that have only just started doing it. So I mean, it's, you know, it wasn't right what Colm said, that you can't, you know, change horses midstream. Armagh have done it very effectively. They've transformed their season. Cork have done it effectively so far, and it's dictating the game. But the big issue is Mayo's response to that, because at this stage a veteran team like that should be able to respond to this. It's a pretty rudimentary defensive system, and there are two things that you do. Either you then lock down their two inside forwards, because Cork are totally dependent on the two inside forwards who have reeled off 5 points from play. In fact, you're playing against one of the other better teams, they'll just immediately, the two spare defenders will do two things. They'll either push up on the sweepers and press them, which they haven't done. So Cork have kicked out, every Cork kick out, they've won it. A short kick out almost every time. So Cork are getting possession out of their defence, they're happy with that. The other consequence of it is that Mayo's sweepers, so-called, are still no man's land. And Cork are just able to pop the ball in on top of the two inside forwards who are taking on their men one-on-one and scoring instead of being double marked.
An example here of how the Mayo sweeper system is
well, 5 times this happened
or not, or
5 times this happened in the first half. Now, this is the Mayo sweeper. He's in what could only be described as no man's land. He's watching the ball. Brian Hurley's inside, isolated, waiting for the play to develop. Instead of double marking him, the Mayo sweeper is nowhere. Hurley picks up the ball and he puts it over the bar. They've done that 5 times. Hurley 3 times, Colm O'Neill twice.
But Joe,
it's very, very simple.
A lot of that is the quality of ball going in to beat the sweeper.
It's not the quality.
Like if he hit a long ball in and the ball broke, was back in the neck. Back of the net, as you were saying before the match, we've been saying Mayo was a soft centre. They have 2 men. They push one up. They have to sit one back.
But it's not the quality of ball. It's the fact that the sweeper is not performing any function. He's standing in the middle of the pitch, not performing any function.
Sometimes it can be the quality of ball going.
Conor McManus played against Donegal. He was double marked. The sweeper pulled in right in front of him, was in his face. There was no prospect of him getting the ball. Colm O'Neill and Hurley are only starting to warm up now. And if Mayo continue to play this way, because the tactics in this game are now extremely important. Cork's tactics are dictating the game thus far. Cork are in a very happy position here, and unless Horan makes a decision one way or the other, either the sweeper goes and marks the corner forward who's free, or he presses up on his own man and they press Cork and him the minute. Don't let them take quicker. At the moment, he's doing neither one or the other.
They need to make Keith Higgins the free man, and then Higgins will punish Cork.
All right, we will be back with the second half of Mayo versus Cork after the break.
Follow the action.
Come on, Donegal!
Across the world, live and on demand with GAA Go.
In retracing the steps of family who fought in the Great War, relatives share an intimate picture of why so many Irish chose to fight. My Great War, Monday and Tuesday at 9:35 on RTE1.
Get set for free Sky TV for 1 month when you join with Sky Sports or Sky Movies. Keep everyone entertained with exciting sports or great movies. Plus all your favourite channels from Ireland and the UK. And watch great TV wherever and whenever you want with Sky Go. So that's free Sky TV for 1 month when you join with Sky Sports or Sky Movies. And watch anywhere you like with Sky Go. Hurry, offer ends the 28th of August. Call us today on 0818 71 6000. That's 0818 71 6000. Sky, believe in better.
In life, you cannot always choose what you do, but you can always choose who you are. We are the Sappers. With every brace and every cufflink, we say, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We've got great bank holiday offers this weekend at Centra, like Centra sausages, rashers, mini puddings and eggs €1 each. Centra fresh Irish strip loin steak 2-pack only €6. Centra vegetable tray only €1. And Western Cape wine better than half price.
We've always cared more about people than cars. That's why AA members get fully comprehensive car insurance to drive other cars, even when they're borrowed. It's not just your car we insure, it's you, the person. from just €24 a month. The AA. Let's go.
Some moments teach you all you need to know about yourself. The Electric Ireland GAA Minor Championships. This is major.
Nice.
We are getting close to the business end of the season, and the big games keep on coming here on RTE. Next week, we'll bring you the first All-Ireland hurling semi-final between Kilkenny and Limerick, and the coverage begins on RTE2 at 2:45. One to look forward to. Meanwhile, here at half-time in this football quarter-final, sides are level. Mayo, 8 points. Cork, 8 points. An attendance here, by the way, of 37,886. Joe Brolly, you were inclined to get very animated when fellas pull other guys down as they're bearing down on goal. We had that here in this match, and there was a black card for it.
Well, I mean, there's not much to say about it. It was a blatant example. Cork are determined not to let Mayo come through like this. He pulls him down by the shorts, and you know, I mean, it's probably not an adequate punishment, but you know, the number 6 has to go off, and it's, you could see in the last.
It's a good job he had his shorts well tightened on him.
It is. There's not much to say. I don't think anybody can complain about that, because you know, people say, oh, it's taking the manliness out of the game. I mean, what's manly about that? So there it is. I mean, he's had his condigned punishment, but the real issue in this game is the tactical game that's being played out now. James Horan's got to make a decision. He's leaving two Cork corner forwards free in there man to man, and he's got 2 spare halfbacks, because there are 2 half forwards from the Cork team playing permanently in their defence. And if I were him, I would just pull the 2 halfbacks off and double mark the 2 inside forwards, turn it into a game of attrition, which Mayo will win.
Well, I'm surprised that he has allowed Lee Keegan mark Paul Kerrigan, because I thought he put a man marker on him and allowed Keegan attack, because that's what he needs to do in this game, because there have been any ball Mayo have kicked in has been lost, so they need to carry it through the middle at speed.
I think Mayo have adapted as the game's gone on. They were expecting Cork to come out and play defensive system. They struggled against Roscommon. You know, they've been in this position against Roscommon. They're more experienced. They've been down this road. They'll have learned from that first half, and I think they might get a bit cute.
They need to make a decision on the sideline. But I think Colm's point is the right one, that Mayo are playing really conservatively, and also I would love to take credit for this. But what you said, Michael, during the break is absolutely right. Mayo seem to be playing this like a team that just want to get through it to the semi-final. They look as though they're not fully concentrating on this. I mean, we've seen Mayo coming out and playing ferociously in Croke Park over the last 2 or 3 years in quarterfinals and semi-finals. I mean, look what they did to Donegal when they met them last year. We're not seeing any of that at all today.
They look to me like they're afraid, Colm, to open up a little bit. That they have decided that this is the way they're going to play it, and they're going to. Well, just fair enough.
Normally fortune favours the brave, but I'd say that a lot of the Mayo players out the field are looking back and seeing Chris Barrett and Ger Cafferty inside, and maybe they haven't a whole lot of confidence in leaving them isolated inside and just pushing up. But what Mayo must do, first of all, is to have to stop Cork taking short kick-outs. And that's where it all starts from, because Cork's possession has been given to them very, very cheaply, and Cork then are able to move around in short-hand passes and eventually work the ball up, where they've given in very good foot passes into their inside men.
Far too easy to work at the minute.
Cork have taken the full complement of time, as you can see, in the half-time break, but they are back and ready to go. So it's back to Martin Carney and Darren Maloney.
Michael, thanks a lot. Just looking around, no sign of any changes on either the Cork side or the Mayo side for this second half, and Mayo kept waiting by Cork. Ken O'Halloran, like Robbie Henley, wasn't beaten during the first half, but this a game of football chess. Brian Cuthbert and his tactics dictating what we have seen, what we've witnessed up to now. Second half about to start.
Yeah, just one issue that surprises me. Go back to Collins, what he was talking about a moment ago. Lee Keegan is actually playing in the full back position and marking Paul Kerrigan, and that to me is madness to have him that far back.
Colin Boyle with his first play of the second half comes rather fortunately off Ian Maguire. Here's Fintan Gould, caught some decent ball in the first half. Ian Maguire played for Cork in last year's under-21 football final, a game they lost. Player with huge potential. Here's Paul Kerrigan with Lee Keegan. Kerrigan fancies him around. We're getting past him on the outside. This is Colm O'Neill trying to draw it in, but it's not going to turn. First attempt at a score of the second half ends in a Cork wide. They're fourth. Loughlin kept the ball in play from Hennelly's kick out. James Lockery with him. Colin Boyle. Ian Maguire comes to close him down. Seamus O'Shea. O'Shea wide.
Yeah, took the kick that time from distance. Nobody making runs inside. Just watch the picture inside here. There's nobody inside to give the ball to, so he just has to take on the responsibility. And a little bit unlucky perhaps, but goes wide nonetheless.
Mayo did put pressure on Cadogan as he got the ball short from Ken O'Halloran. Damien Cahalane takes Andy Moran with him. Ian Maguire. Damien Cahalane again. Up towards Brian Hurley. Ball spilled. Referee has given a free for a foul on Chris Barrett of Mayo.
Yeah, Chris Barrett anticipated the flight of that ball very well, got out in front and was fouled. Definitely Brian Hurley hit him from behind. Though certainly from that one there, it looked shoulder to shoulder, it must be said. But I must say fortune favours the brave. Maybe in some respects Barrett got out front, in front for that ball.
It was at this stage of the championship last year that Mayo really cut loose when they got to Croke Park. That very impressive performance against Donegal, ran up a huge score. Game was effectively over at half-time.
But strangely today about the game, Dar, there's very little atmosphere out there. You know, it's like, as we said earlier, maybe in the first, it's like a chess match. Both teams are just kind of trying to probe where the weaknesses are, and no team really gaining, you know, what you call a clear ascendancy. Even at the moment now, the referee down speaking to two lads who are niggling off the ball.
Brian O'Driscoll and Jason Doherty. There's a fair bit of it going on. Robbie Hennelly seeking out his Brafey clubmate Aidan O'Shea and finding him as well. Damien Cahalane beaten by Aidan O'Shea. That came off his knee. He's still in possession of the football though. Up towards Andy Moran. The bounce was difficult for him to deal with. Good pick-up though under pressure from Colm O'Driscoll. Shot from Jason Doherty, has the legs, it goes over. Mayo back in front by 9-8.
Yeah, and you credit Aidan O'Shea actually initially with good work out along the sideline, giving a good ball over to Andy Moran, who won it on the second attempt. And Doherty in a good position again, you know, starts the second half just as he started the first half with a point.
Doherty's second point of the game. Seamus O'Shea. A bit more involvement from the crowd. 37,886 here today. Kerry waiting. Michael Shields has been penalised for a push on Andy Moran. He's doing everything he can to try and convince the referee that he did nothing wrong. Let's see exactly what happened.
Yeah, again, a good crossfield ball. It's innocuous enough from this vantage point, it must be said, but referee saw it as a cause for a free.
They've taken it quickly. Here comes Donald Vaughan, had a chance of a goal, but goes for the point with the fist and gets it. Quick thinking from Andy Moran, something a bit different as Donald Vaughan was completely free and Cork switched off.
Cork started arguing the toss with the referee, annoyed at the fact that a free had been given. Vaughan just very cleverly got into a good attacking situation, scored a good point. Now he'll be keen to get into the game much more than he has been involved in the first half.
Early signs promising for Mayo. Brian O'Driscoll got the kick from Ken O'Halloran. Colm O'Driscoll. Alan Dillon with a heavy challenge on Colm O'Driscoll. Aidan Walsh, Ian Maguire. Mark Collins has taken up a good position to the left of Damien Cahalane, but he's gone for a harder pass and a more difficult pass to execute. Brian Hurley ran away from him. Mark Collins was free, closer to the ball carrier but not seen, and Brian Cuthbert's team are trailing by 2.
Yes, noticeably that time Gerard Cafferty was much tighter than Brian Hurley in the race for the ball, and as a consequence it went out wide.
Colin Boyle, Alan Dillon. Dillon. Andy Moran slipped again, but Jason Doherty's there. They could be in for a goal. Andy Moran screaming for it is Cillian O'Connor. There was a touch on that. It's gone over for a... Cillian O'Connor was completely free, but Mayo wanted the point. They got the point, and it's Mayo by 3 after confusion at the Cork full back line.
Yeah, mix up that time in the Cork full back line. Jason Doherty did very well to offload to Cillian or to Andy Moran. Just watch it again, and Andy gets on to his left foot, but O'Connor was clear. Andy Moran spotted him, but maybe took the percentage thing, took a good score.
Cork's last point came 4 minutes from half-time. And here we are in the 7th minute of the second half. Colin Boyle has been dumped to the ground and looks to be quite badly hurt. And there's more niggly stuff going on off the ball. The linesman being consulted after this.
Yeah, just watch this here, the way the fist comes in, and that's right into the windpipe. That deserved more than just speaking to.
It's Brian O'Driscoll who was involved in that particular incident. It's a yellow for him.
Well, lucky to be just a yellow, it must be said.
Kevin McLaughlin made a dart towards Chris Barrett, and Barrett gets it back. Andy Moran.
Help him!
And the referee, he's actually given a free out. Somebody touched the ball on the ground.
Well, I think just bring order to the whole thing. Let's just get on with it and give him a free out.
Couldn't handle it, thrown it in again. Well, that was far too casual from Brian O'Driscoll, and 3 Mayo men arrive, and Jason Doherty has robbed the ball back, and he's got a free as well. At last, a bit of involvement from the crowd. Lee Keegan, Alan Dillon. It's the Mayo crowd who are getting more involved. Dillon skips away from the challenge, and over it goes. 4 in a row for Mayo. They have arrived in this quarter-final, and they lead by 12 points to 8.
Yeah, playing some good enterprising football at the moment. It's the main source of scores, it must be said, is just the collective effort of the forwards at the moment. But that time a good finish by Dillon. I think it's his 3rd of the game.
Cork struggling to get out of their own half, but this looks more promising. Ian Maguire gets away from Aidan O'Shea. Good run from Maguire to Colm O'Neill. Paul Kerrigan is there with him. O'Neill knocked off it by Tom Caniff. Referee has given a free in to Cork. Anything right now.
Yeah, Colm O'Neill again willing to show all the time for it, and Tom Caniff comes across him and concedes the free. Just watch the left hand coming in here, pushes in the back with the right hand. That is a free in.
And this is as routine as it gets. Oh, I'm not saying anything. Colm O'Neill. First point in 14 minutes for Cork. It's his 3rd, first from a free. Those kickouts are precise from Robbie Hennelly. Donald Vaughan kept it in for him. Doherty continues to work hard for his team. It's a Mayo line ball. Mayo dominating in all sorts of areas in this second half. Mayo getting ready to introduce Enda Varley. Kevin McLaughlin. Lovely turn to get away from Lockery, and well, what followed matched the skill and the speed to get away from James Lockery, which is no mean feat in itself. That's a lovely score.
Beautiful score, and that's the 5th separate score in the second half. Beautifully taken score, wonderfully flighted over the left foot, but he's been showing all during the game, and certainly deserves that. But just watch it again.
Mark Collins and Jason Doherty, and the referee has overturned the decision. He'd given Cork a free.
This undercurrent of petulance is there right throughout the game. It has never left it, and that was silly on the part of Mark Collins.
Aidan O'Shea, Mayo dominating everywhere. Colm O'Driscoll was right there with Aidan O'Shea. They could be in for a goal. Alan Dillon saved it. Damien Cahalane there for Cork. A let-off for the beaten Munster finalists. A bad clearance out. Cork under all sorts of pressure. Lee Keegan, Kevin McLaughlin. Now it's Andy Moran trying his luck. There's no pressure on Moran, and that is just shooting practice. They're inviting them to shoot from way out the field, even that far out. 14-9, Cork in bother.
They're in bother, and Mayo are way more composed at the moment. They're bringing an energy and an economy to what they're doing that wasn't there in the first half. To be somewhat worried by the fact, I think, that Aidan O'Shea is down injured at the moment.
Aidan O'Shea down. Enda Varley is in for Andy Moran. Paddy Kelly is on for Cork.
Paddy Kelly, the last time we saw him involved, he was taken off, I think, at half-time in the Munster final, Dara, and Enda Varley in for Andy Moran. Kind of a bit surprised at that, given Andy Moran just after scoring.
Colm O'Driscoll going off the Cork team. Mark Collins. Ger Cafferty was caught waiting for that to come to him. Tom Caniff sweeping up behind him. Seamus O'Shea for Mayo. There's more pace, intensity and guile about Mayo in the second half. Chris Barrett using the width of the pitch. Aidan O'Shea with Owen Cadigan. He won that physical battle. Mayo, a much more powerful team than Cork. Aidan O'Shea sends that in for Cillian O'Connor. O'Connor, a wonderful skill from Cillian O'Connor. Alan Dillon now had Enda Varley free, and Dillon almost at walking pace slots it over, and this Cork defensive system is shutting down, and it's been torn apart by Mayo, scoring almost at will and pulling away from Cork.
Well, the fertile supply that time was provided by Aidan O'Shea. His bull strength overwhelmed Cadigan out in the far line, but Cillian O'Connor's control of the ball that time. We marvelled at Shane Walsh a week ago, but Mayo are on a roll.
And the roll continues with Seamus O'Shea in the 48th minute. Jason Doherty. Oh, now Keith Higgins left free. His handling just let him down. Paddy Kelly on hand to rescue Cork. Aidan Walsh. Paddy Kelly drills it into the corner. Colm O'Neill made his move, but the pass to him wasn't hit firmly enough, and Colin Boyle has it, but Colm O'Neill gets it back for Cork. Just 1 point they've managed in the second half. Brian Hurley got 4 in the first, and it's just not going Cork's way right now.
Yeah, the twin threat of Hurley and O'Neill has been somewhat closed down much more effectively in the second half by Mayo, who is just up there, must be said, since the half-time break.
How to make up a 6-point deficit when you're playing defensively. Enda Varley did brilliantly well to keep it in play. Paul Kerrigan playing as a right half-back. Cork are going to make another change. Donnacha O'Connor will be introduced next time we get the chance. Fintan Gould. The team that haven't scored a goal in the championship this year really need one now. Mark Collins maybe about to leave the Cork team with Donnacha O'Connor ready to come in. Fintan Gould is behind James Lockery. Mayo outscoring Cork by 7 points to 1 since the match restarted. Damien Cahalane to Mark Collins. Collins from a tricky angle, trying to guide it in. Wide.
No, that's a disappointing response from Cork. Cork needed that score badly. Mayo have been denying them space repeatedly, and that time when they did, get that opening, they should have actually finished it with a score.
Mark Collins replaced by Donnacha O'Connor. Fintan Gould, it's over his head. Aidan O'Shea to Shamey. Dinks it forward for Enda Varley, who was pushed by Owen Cadigan. Free in, and more misery coming for Cork.
Yes, and this suits Mayo's needs completely. That time again, you know, Varley was beaten for the ball, but just an unnecessary push in the back gives Mayo an easy enough opportunity. As you might say yourself, Dara, if any opportunity is easy.
I'm learning-ish. The 7 Mayo points that they've scored in the second half have all been from play. Cork's sole point came from a free, and Cillian O'Connor has put that for the bar, and Mayo moving away from Cork.
Yeah, you can just see, you know, the power that they've exerted since the second half started has kind of maybe infused them with greater belief, and they're quite comfortable at the moment.
Aidan Walsh with Seamus O'Shea. Walsh goes to ground. Jason Doherty, player penalised, and this is going to be moved forward for some dissent after the whistle blew. Fintan Gould towards Colm O'Neill. Brian Hurley is in closest to goal. Tom Caniff just holding his ground. Now Aidan Walsh of Cork. Fintan Gould, there's a bit of a gap there for Gould. Need a score. They have a score. Second of the second half. Still a long way back, but better from Cork.
Better from Cork, and again the willing Colm O'Neill initiated everything there. You know, has made the runs again and again today, even though he's been double teamed repeatedly. But he it was to set up the score.
It's been a very significant third quarter move from Mayo. Level 6 times in the first half. Aidan Walsh giving Colm O'Neill something to chase. Just sits up nicely for him. Donnacha O'Connor is there with him now. James Lockery. Donnacha O'Connor. They're on a bit of a roll. 2 in a row, and Donnacha O'Connor makes his mark to close the gap to 5.
Yeah, the experience of Donnacha O'Connor is so vital at the moment. Good score from him. Colm O'Neill again retrieving a difficult ball that was going out over the line, and certainly Cork are not out of it.
Seamus O'Shea. Owen Cadigan out in front of Enda Varley. 3 Mayo men around Brian O'Driscoll. Seamus O'Shea has it. Seeing a lot of the ball in the second half is the Brafey man. That's close, but not close enough. Just wouldn't turn.
Seamus O'Shea is such a willing worker. You know, he's up and down the field all day, tackling, harrying, having goals at goals, but that time just drifted wide.
James Lockery. Damien Cahalane for Brian Hurley. Leaves Ger Cafferty behind him. Cafferty in a decent position if he can stay with Brian Hurley. Easier said than done. Good hands as well. Now James Lockery. Is there a goal in Cork? Aidan O'Shea had got free. Brian Hurley spots a bit of a gap. Dragged back. Here's Aidan Walsh again. They need a goal, and Walsh couldn't get hold of the shot, and it goes wide in the end. But the referee has given a free in. He was playing an advantage, was he?
Yes, and it was correct decision by the referee. He allowed the advantage to go ahead, and when a score didn't result, he's giving the free in. And that's the correct decision.
Brian Hurley.
Hurley in that case is fouled. No doubt about it. There's the hand up, yeah. And when a score didn't come from it, the 13-metre free in is the correct decision.
And Donnacha O'Connor puts that over, and you could see his urgency. Give him the ball as quickly as possible. The time against them, and the gap is closing.
Yeah, but with 16 minutes to go and only 4 points in it, you know, it's still well within their remit to actually bring this game back.
They've got the last 3. Just over 15 minutes left. Wonderful catch by Seamus O'Shea, driving Mayo forward. Alan Dillon has played his part as well, but they're still close enough to Cork that it could be uncomfortable for Mayo. Here's Donal Vaughan. 1 point in the second half. That was from a fisted effort with the boot. Not as accurate. Wide, number 9.
Yeah, and Cillian O'Connor will be disappointed with that. He made a good run to be given the ball by Donald Vaughan, and Donald ultimately took the shot from a difficult angle. No real conviction in it, and a waste of a good attacking.
Ian Maguire, big gap right down the middle. Fintan Gould. That's not a good ball though from Gould. Colm O'Neill, you could see him throw his left hand out in despair at the quality of the pass to him, but they'll have other chances. Seamus O'Shea dominating this Mayo team. End of Varley with Owen Cadigan there. Great little sidestep from Varley. Jason Doherty tries it as well, and again, and a wonderful block by Brian O'Driscoll, but it's come to Alan Dillon. Dillon forced away from the Cork post, and then some. Now it's Cillian O'Connor. 4-point lead. Mayo getting ready to bring Harrison in. Owen Cadigan, that skipped away and gone wide.
Yeah, what was a promising attacking opportunity there for Mayo fizzled out somewhat. Again, a lack of decisiveness in front of goals. They'll be disappointed that didn't get a return from that.
John O'Rourke is replacing Brian O'Driscoll in the half-back line. And it's Brendan Harrison who will come in. There is Brendan, and Chris Barrett is the player who's going off. A brief glimpse of Cillian O'Connor down, suffering from some cramp. There's Brendan Harrison. Aidan Walsh, Michael Shields, James Lockery. It's Harrison in front of him. Damien Cahalan. Keith Higgins tracking him. Cork still have the ball with Brian Hurley. Coming together, free in Cork. Tom Caniff can't believe it. We've seen that expression on his face a couple of times in this game. Tangling with Colm O'Neill. Thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I think it's a soft enough free in, to be quite honest about it. Tom Caniff that time, I felt, you know, it's a 50-50 ball they were going for. Colm O'Neill cleverly put his body in a situation where definitely, you know, give the impression of a free, but I thought that was a soft enough one.
Donnacha O'Connor again. He's got 3 out of their last 4.
Yes, and they scored the last 4, I think, on the trot, so they're right back in this game.
3 between them. 10 minutes ago, less than that actually, it appeared that Mayo were pulling away. Their lead was 7 points. Now it's been trimmed right back to 3. Next score, absolutely vital. Cork haven't needed a goal up to now. James Lockery. Paddy Kelly. Aidan Walsh. Colm O'Neill. It's a one-man inside forward line at the moment. Fintan Gould. Pressure put on Fintan Gould. That's John O'Rourke. Same goes for him. Donnacha O'Connor. Jason Doherty there. O'Connor was a hand in. They've managed to keep it alive though. Paddy Kelly for Cork. Players forward. Here's Ian Maguire. Maguire gets through. Maguire! Kennedy stopped it! And the referee has given a free out. Aidan O'Shea seemed to dive on the ball, but the referee decided there was a push on Aidan O'Shea. Ian Maguire was through. The shot though was hit straight at him. And here come Mayo. Given another fright. Poor ball forward by Tom Caniff. Won by Michael Shields, and he's got a free as well. Just over 10 minutes to go. This ain't over. Paddy Kelly. Ian Maguire. Donnacha O'Connor. And Colm O'Neill has space from Ger Cafferty. Brian Hurley screaming for it. O'Neill has got it around the back. O'Neill! And Cafferty collided with him. Did he? No. Referee says he didn't. Well, it's unlike Colm O'Neill to have a fresh air effort right there. But Cafferty did put him under pressure. Just how much contact was there? The referee was in a great position, decided there was not enough to give a free in.
Well, the referee was right up with it, it must be said. Colin Neal gets past him in this case. And looked to me to be a foul from behind, to be honest with you, from this angle. But the referee is right beside them and decides otherwise. But just going back to the previous situation, great stop by Robbie Hanley. Ball coming in, Aidan O'Shea, I think, came in with the follow-up and got a push in the back and got a free out, whereas a lot of Cork people thought there was a case for a penalty.
Ian Maguire has gone off. He was almost in for a goal about 90 seconds ago. And with all those young players starting for Cork, they've been able to bring in some big names from the bench. Donnacha O'Connor and now Daniel Goulding. And Cork have closed right up in terms of possession. Here come Mayo. Haven't scored since the 51st minute. Enda Varley trying to change that right now, but he's not going to be able to do it. They're in double figures now. They're in 11th wide in total for Mayo. There are 10 minutes remaining. Noel Galvin, Fintan Gould, and Galvin decides to get on his bike. The cornerback attacking, Damien Cahalane. Galvin continues his run forward. He's actually been tracked by Donal Vaughan, and that has gone well wide by Damien Cahalane. He knew from the moment he made contact with the ball that it was sailing wide. Number 7 for them.
Yes, there have been two very good opportunities there. One, and just going back to Colin O'Neill's situation in a minute, I thought there was definitely a tangling of legs there, and I thought there was a free in. But both Enda Varley and Damien Cahalane for the respective teams actually wasted good opportunities in the last moment or two.
Seamus O'Shea, Donal Vaughan, Jason Doherty is there with him. John O'Rourke is the Cork number 25. The sub has got it back and the ball turned over, and here they come. James Lockery, Aidan Walsh thought about the shot. Lockery with Donnacha O'Connor in front of him, and now Donnacha O'Connor for Cork. O'Connor is through! Goal! They're level, and what a time to get your first goal of the 2014 championship. They've come from nowhere. They looked dead and buried about 10-12 minutes ago. Cork are back in business, and Mayo ain't bother. It's level.
They've been rumbling, it has been coming down. We said it a few moments ago. Mayo are wilting throughout the pitch. The energy levels are gone, and Donnacha O'Connor at that time fires a wonderful goal, the first championship goal of the season for Cork. But they fully deserve that on the basis of the way they've played over the last 10 minutes or so.
After the football chess of the first half, this has really come to life, and now we're going to see what Mayo are made of. Aidan O'Shea, Damien Cahalane gives away the free, and this is a big kick.
Big kick again. Aidan O'Shea gets the ball out on the side that time, and Cahalane comes in late in him, and it just gives away a free that gives. Not sure who's going to take it. I'd imagine it's Cillian O'Connor, or surprising maybe that Kevin McLaughlin is going over to take it.
Well, they could do with a left-footed kicker. Mayo are getting ready to make a change, and Mayo, well, the score's dried up during that 12-minute period since their last score. Cork have hit 1-4. Cillian O'Connor's going to take the free, and this is tricky on the Mayo right. And I think he's going to come off after this and be replaced by Alan Freeman. Will he head off with a smile on his face or a frown? 7 times we've been level. Cillian O'Connor. Oh, that is absolutely superb. Massive pressure on him, massive pressure on Mayo. First score in 12 and a bit minutes. Donnacha O'Connor, take a bow. What a fantastic finish.
Yeah, great work by James Lowry, it must be said, but a very good finish by O'Connor. Just right in Robbie Headley's near side. To be disappointed with that, to be beaten on his near side, but it was the quality of the strike that made it.
There's Alan Freeman. Mayo lead. So the first score after the Cork goal. It's a good response, and Cillian O'Connor not in any mad rush to leave the field of play.
Yes, and Mayo now have the decision to make. They need to push up on the Cork kicker. Joe was talking about that at half-time. They really haven't done it effectively.
It's milled down the middle and caught by Donal Vaughan of Mayo. Have they awoken from their slumber? Alan Freeman. Enda Varley. No. Owen Cadigan. Paddy Kelly. These guys have restored the pride and rebuilt the confidence that took such an absolute hammering, losing by 12 points in the Munster final. Is it to be the end for Cork? How much energy and effort have they had to put in to make up that 7-point lead that Mayo had built up with 19 minutes to go? Is there more in them? Aidan Walsh. With Aidan O'Shea, ball turned over. Jason Doherty, good work. Aidan O'Shea, Damien Cahalane is there with him. Now it's Alan Freeman. That wasn't so good.
Oh, dreadful finish that time by Alan Freeman. Great work by Aidan O'Shea in dispossessing the Cork player, but Alan Freeman a lot more time that on that occasion to size up his opportunity.
12 wides for Mayo. Paddy Kelly under pressure from Alan Freeman, and this is what the Mayo forwards do so well. What a vital time to do it. Here's Donal Vaughan, had a bad wide earlier on. Aidan O'Shea is through. O'Shea left side, taking an eternity. Aidan O'Shea! What a goal from Aidan O'Shea, the calmest man in Croke Park. They have woken from their slumber. 4 minutes to go, they lead by 4.
That's classy, Aidan. That is classy, boy, right at the bitter end. And I thought he was tiring, held his nerve, kept his composure. Fabulous goal. But credit Alan Freeman of winning the kick-out. After having an awful miss, he certainly atoned for his mistake.
The pressure that Mayo forwards put on led to that goal, but an outrageous skill from Aidan O'Shea. Here's the Cork reply. They need a goal of their own. Oh, they've got one! They've got one! It's not over. It's Brian Hurley with their second goal in 5 minutes.
That is wonderful from Brian Hurley. Takes all key thickness, loses his balance, but Jerk Haffigan a little bit slow in getting over to him. Bodies are tiring, but Hurley certainly isn't tiring. That's a wonderful shot to the roof of the net. This is a great response from Cork.
I don't want this to end. Cork 2-13, but Mayo with 1:17 and leading by 1. Donal Vaughan wins the Mayo kick-out. Here's Colin Boyle. Fouled. Under 3 minutes to go, plus added time. Here's Alan Dillon. He's still on. He's still going. Shooting. Put it wide, though.
Yeah, could have taken a little bit more out of that, I think, just run on with it, but so many players at the moment are wilting. But Cork's spirit was manifest, and certainly after the debacle of the Munster final, must be said, they have certainly restored the reputation.
Here comes Owen Cadigan for Cork. Another twist in the tail, perhaps. They're a point behind. Good defending from Keith Higgins. And Higgins charges out, and here's Tom Caniff. Mayo want to make a substitution. Jason Doherty has got through a serious amount of work. Tom Caniff to Alan Dillon. Looking for players, teammates in better positions. Has to go back. Kevin McLaughlin. Well, they have possession of the football, so Cork can't do any damage while they have it. Tell us how much is to be added on. Will be interesting. Here's Colin Boyle. They've kept it well, have Mayo. Seamus O'Shea. Donal Vaughan. Vaughan. Well, the reaction of the crowd will tell you all you need to know, and I think that one has gone over. Yes, indeed it has. Had a bad miss earlier on with an attempt off the boot, and Mayo now lead by 2. 1:18-2:13.
Well, Vaughan's energy was manifest there, just being able to keep going and going and going. That's a great score by Vaughan from a difficult angle. And Aidan O'Shea now has come off. I think he's been replaced by Jason Gibbons.
What a goal. Fintan Gould. Cork need another one. Gould is fouled. Paddy Kelly. Oh, ball turned over. Mayo have done that so well, legally ripping the ball out of the hands of Cork's Paddy Kelly. Well, nothing is safe, nothing is certain, but here they come. Jason Gibbons has got in around the back. Lee Keegan, they'll take the point, and they've got it from Lee Keegan. What a response from Mayo to the shock of those 2 quick goals, and they thought after Aidan O'Shea's that it was done. There was another Cork one after that, but they've been calm and composed, and they've done this. Michael Shields. There'll be 2 minutes to be added on. Plenty of time to get a goal, I suppose, if you're a Cork man. Colm O'Neill and Ger Cafferty, and that is a free in. It's a free in. Free in Cork coming, and Ger Cafferty just taking or trying to frustrate the Cork man who wanted the ball back. Donnacha O'Connor, point. Well, it's not any good really at this stage, but can they work something off this with less than 90 seconds to go? Fancy the way Colm O'Neill is lining up to do this. He's just going to try and chip it over. They'll try and win the ball then from the kick out and get the goal they need. Or will he drill it and hope something happens? No, he's gone for the point. Back to within 2. So now this kick out from Robbie Hennelly, absolutely vital.
How many minutes did he say, Darrell?
Two, and it's gone right down towards Jason Gibbons. Gibbons couldn't hang on to it. Cork have it with Donnacha O'Connor. This is it for Cork. Damien Cahalane. Inside the last half minute, Damien Cahalane. O'Neill and Hurley in close to goal. Good work from Damien Cahalane, weaving, jinking one way and then the other. They've got to get a goal, Cork. Colm O'Neill. Now James Lockery, Paul Kerrigan dragged down, but it's just outside. It'll be a free in, and they've got to go for a goal or try and work something off the free.
This has to be it. They have to go for a goal this time. He's just outside just outside the large rectangle. He can give away the free that time. But that was desperation. They have to go for the goal. No other way.
Well, the 2 minutes are gone. And Colm O'Neill, well, decides to put it over. So back to within 1. Okay.
Well, the 72 and a half gone now. I'd say he'll blow for the final whistle as soon as the kick-out comes.
I wonder, maybe he checked with the referee Cormac Riley, would there be one more play? It was tough for them to get the ball back on the last kick out from Hennelly. They've got to do it again. Mayo leading by a point. Alan Dillon has gone off. Michael Conroy replaces him, and there it is, it's over. And Mayo will play Kerry in the All-Ireland football semi-final. There was no more time for Cork, and you see the referee now surrounded by 5 Cork players clarifying what was going on with the time. I wonder, did the referee give some kind of an indication to Colm O'Neill that there would be one more play left? There certainly wasn't. O'Neill put the ball over the bar when they needed to try and work a goal. One or two of the Cork players been dragged away from the referee. Still they protest, but it ain't going to change the result. Cork are gone, pride restored, etc. But Mayo are through.
I don't know what went on with Colm O'Neill or the Cork forwards before that last free kick, but there's no doubt about it. I think the Cork players were under the impression maybe that there was another minute to go, but it was 2 minutes officially that we were told was the time to be added on. When the referee blew the whistle, it was nearly in the 3rd minute of overtime. But maybe they were misled by whatever happened, but Mayo just about got over the line there, must be said.
Let's get some reaction from the winning Mayo camp. Joanne Cantwell.
And from the man who scored the goal as well, Aidan O'Shea, how did you survive that at the end?
I don't know, we started the second half awful well and probably got into a small bit of a comfort zone and let Cork back in it. They got a bit of run us. Donnacha O'Connor come on and got a great goal. I think probably a massive turning point was Killian's free just after the goal just settled us, and we held on at the end, thanks be to God.
Have you scored many goals as good as that or as important as that?
We were in a room with Jason Dock today and he didn't believe I scored any goals for Mayo, but yeah, it was nice to get one, and it was an important one too.
What was going through your head though, because you had a bit to do to get that in the back of the net?
Yeah, Donny flicked it over my head. I didn't even realise there was nobody behind, and I think Aidan Walsh came flying across and I just had to go on my right foot, and thankfully it went in.
When Cork did keep coming back at you, especially there at the end, were you all able to remain calm throughout? I know you had left a few minutes before the final whistle, but how did you manage to stay calm?
Yeah, I think, as I said, thought we were very calm from their first goal. Robbie picked out a great kick out to Jason Dock, and we got up the field, got a free, and Killian popped that over, and it kind of really set us up. Now again, obviously when I got my goal, we let them get a goal straight away, which wasn't ideal, but you know, we've been around for a while, this team, and thankfully we took it out.
Well done today, Aidan O'Shea, very impressive, and well done to Mayo.
Thanks, Joanne. Yeah, we've seen some fantastic goals this weekend. The full-time score here, Mayo 119, Cork 215.
And in the commentary box for that match was Darren Maloney and Martin Carney. Let's have a look at the stats from that game. It all, of course, got very frantic towards the end there with scores coming from everywhere. And you can see the stats there on the scoring chances converted by both Mayo and Cork. So now we know who will be in the first of this year's All-Ireland football semi-finals. That will take place on August the 24th. And it will, of course, be Kerry to take on Mayo. Joe Brawley, Kieran Whelan here with me in studio. Mayo just got there in the end, Colin, by the single point. Did they deserve it?
Yeah, I think they were the better team over the game. I think they had won the game about 3 times in the second half. And it looked at, after 15 minutes of the second half, they had, I think, scored 7 points from play against a free from Colm O'Neill, that they were going to be easy winners. They had pushed up, they disrupted the Cork kick out, and they started to win a lot of possession. And it looked as if, at that stage, Cork were lying down, similar to the Munster final. And in fairness to them, inspired by Colm O'Neill and Brian Hurley, they really took the game to Mayo, and they gave them the fright of their lives and came back twice with 2 great goals. But Mayo were seasoned, and the free from, I think, Killian O'Connor at a vital time when the sides were level, and of course a brilliant goal by Aidan O'Shea, who had a really towering second half performance.
He's a brilliant player, Aidan O'Shea. I mean, he really is a brilliant killer in a different era. You know, the Dubs ran him into the ground last year, and that's the only downside, is the lack of sprint pace. Yeah. But he is truly a brilliant Gaelic footballer. Like.
Kieran, the view is that Mayo deserved to win that, but there was, as I said, just a point in it. Yeah. And we're interested in what happened there right at the end, because Cork had a free, took the point, the play is blown up with the next play out, and Cork, obviously, they must have been... Yeah, well, got the impression they had time to get another score.
You would think that there was communication with the referee, because nowadays you don't get over the injury time. Clearly go up to talk to him. He looks at his watch. He communicates with them. We don't know what he said, but Colm O'Neill obviously pops the ball over the bar, and then afterwards they're remonstrating with him. So you know, we don't know. We don't know what Cormac Riley said. If he said there was another play, then rightly so, they have a case, because you would think, if it was the last kick of the game, he has to have a go at goal. You know, has to have a go at goal. But like, I agree with the lads. I think Mayo had the game won when they went 7 points up. But I think they showed huge mental resolve to concede 2 goals. That was the risk they took when they pushed up. They conceded 2 goals.
Mm-hmm. Well, here we say that. As we said, Colin, we're only speculating on what actually might have been said or not said between the referee and the player. But clearly, Cork had some issues afterwards.
Well, Kieran O'Sullivan had run, who was the Mayor Forna, had run into the referee before the free was taken. Yes. So obviously the referee gave him some indication, which he passed on to Colm O'Neill. Again, but there was 2.5 minutes of extra time gone. The extra time that was being played was 2 minutes, so the referee was quite within his rights to blow the game up at that stage. But if he said to Colm O'Neill, you know, you must go for a goal, or the game is over with the kick out, he'd have gone for a goal.
It would have taken a wonder strike to hit the back of the net as well. A lot of bodies back.
Yeah,
the game was again...
Michael Meehan did it last year.
He did, yeah.
It's one of those ghosts.
The game was again a classic illustration of why Mayo haven't won the All-Ireland yet. That Achilles heel, at critical times, whenever they're in charge of a game. I mean, they were 6 points up. You now hold them at arm's length. You control the game now. You hold that lead. With Mayo, it never happens. They conceded 2 awful goals, I mean, by any standards, from a team who have ambitions, higher ambitions, which they have, and who had put themselves into a winning position. 2 goals against the run of play like that, and particularly on the first occasion.
That's what we're saying at half-time. Yeah. If they pushed up, you were running the risk of conceding goals.
No, but they neither did one or the other.
But Colm Boyle did push up, and he was trying to drift. Slightly. He was trying to drift back when he could, but they did leave the boys inside, and that's the danger. That's the danger. Well, they pushed up. They were very conservative in the first half, but they had the game. Well, that was the reason they went 6-7 points ahead.
First of all, that's not right, because Colm O'Neill and Hurley scored 5 points between themselves in the first half and looked very dangerous at all times. I mean, the problem is that you've now got a jittery full back line, and that's a long-term problem. The 2 goals were a disaster. Against a better team, the game A team that scores 2 goals against you in big games in the Championship. Donegal, the 2011 or 12 final. Dublin, the 2013 final. And a game last year where Mayo were in control in the first half. They're not going to be All-Ireland champions, and that's the problem that must urgently be resolved.
Ger Cafferty and Chris Barrett struggled badly in the full back line. They put back Tom Caniff on a marking job there, and he did slightly better. But the best way for Mayo to play is push up and crush a team, because when they did that in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, but then they felt we have the game won and we'll sit back. They allowed Cork then to get their short kick-outs going again and to work the ball forward. But they also seem to be out on their feet. It seems to be a game that's playing at a very rapid pace.
They showed incredible mental resolve. You can see 2 goals in a crucial stage of the game when Cork had all the momentum to bounce back and go down the field and to pop crucial scores at crucial time to get them over the line. That shows mental strength and a bit of character. They mightn't have done an All-Ireland final day, but they did show it out there. You know, it's very easy.
I agree. Manager James Horton, who is joining us from the dressing room area. James, congratulations to you into an All-Ireland semi-final. It's where, of course, you want to be, but it was tight in the end.
Yeah, it was tighter than it probably should have been. You know, we got ourselves into a great position. We went 5-6 points up, and maybe we pulled up the handbrake a little bit and tried to see it out, or tried to drop off a little bit instead of pushing up. And when you do that very quickly, momentum can change, and that's what we saw. And Cork came down, and Donald O'Connor took a goal as he can, and you know, that put us in a tight spot. But I thought 1 or 2 of the scores we got at the end, we switched it from side to side and waited for the right shot and pulled it at the right time. I thought that was great. So while we did maybe put ourselves in bother, we came strong to get through it. And look at them, I'm delighted to get through that game. Cork were defensive. They're hard to play against. It takes a while to break it down, but you know, we kept at it, and a lot of guys put in huge effort out there today and ran themselves empty, which is all you can ask for. So look at, we're not playing great, but we're still winning, and I'll take that all day.
Yeah, no doubt you will. You must have been pleased, James, with the way the team responded when, as you said, you did put yourselves into a spot of bother, but the lads dug themselves out of it again.
Yeah, and you know, we do that quite a lot. You know, and we're in a lot of tight spots, and this year we've been in a few with over Roscommon, obviously with 3 down with a bit to go, but we just keep playing, and I suppose that's come from us playing a lot of football and a lot of high quality football through national leagues and through championship campaigns, and there's great belief and great understanding amongst the team, and you know, we back ourselves all the time that we can get the job done.
Right at the end there, James, I just want to ask you briefly about this. Cork were protesting to the referee. They looked like they had got the impression that there was another play left in this game. Did you hear any of that, or were you aware of what exactly was going on?
No, but I'm very familiar with that situation. We had one of those. We had one of those last year. So look at it. It wasn't our turn today, so I'm okay with that.
All right, James, you're into an All-Ireland semi-final, as I said, against Kerry. How's that going to go?
That's great. Look at we genuinely love playing Kerry up here, and yeah, we're looking forward to it already.
All right, listen, you were making even Galway people nervous towards the end of that game, but you've come through it. Well done. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thanks, Les.
The view of James Horton. He summed it up quite well there, Kieran.
Yeah, well, he acknowledges that they're not playing well. I think that's the important thing. That they're getting over the line, and they don't have the same movement as they had this time last year. They have a few weeks to work on it. They're coming up now against a Kerry side. It's going to be a very, very interesting clash. If they don't sort out the problems in their full back line, James O'Donoghue will run amok. Simple as that. So they have a lot of work to do, but they're still there, and they still have the hunger. They
good
still
to have the work to do, isn't it?
Absolutely.
This is classically a management job now. I mean, James O'Donoghue, it's a one-dimensional attack plan that Kerry have. We've seen that throughout the championship. He is a brilliant player. If Mayo play like that against Kerry, James O'Donoghue will absolutely make hay and keep Kerry in the game. I mean, it would have been an awful shame if Mayo had lost that game today, which they could easily have done because of 2 stupid goals and because of the way they continued not to defend in the danger area in front of goals. And the problem against a team like Kerry is this: Kerry's whole attack plan is based on trying to get goals. It's attacking you in there in that inside line, and we've seen their movement and we see the way they play. So Kerry are looking for that, And Mayo have a huge job in their hands, and particularly the manager, because he cannot allow this sort of situation that's been developing over the last 3 years to continue against Kerry, because that's the only thing that can give Kerry
problem, the problem for Mayo is, are they going to sacrifice Keith Higgins in a direct man-marking job? Because Keith Higgins, but he's like the Dutch boy going around putting his finger in the dike in about 10 different places. But if you sacrifice him in the full back line, you lose his creativity
you have
going
to do it
forward.
You have to do it against Kerry.
I would assume, though, that in a case like this, that, you know, needs must. I would say James Horn would say to Keith Higgins soon, you're going to have to mark him.
And the Mayo sweeper must double mark him. He must actually physically double mark him. It's the only way to do it. I know it's a rotten thing to do, but that's what a team like Donegal are going to do. They'll just face you up and double mark you.
Last year they sacrificed Higgins against Dublin. He played in the forward line, and Dublin were getting in control, and they had to move him back.
The other thing there today was Mayo started messing. Like Jason Doherty had the ball stripped off him going forward.
End of Varley.
And it came straight down, and 2 goals resulted from it. When they should have been holding on to possession, being patient, working it back out, working across the field, because both Seamus O'Shea, get the ball to Seamus O'Shea and Aidan O'Shea, because it would take about 6 men to take the ball off each of them.
And this is where the worry is.
With more analysis and reaction to Mayo's win after this break.
Super Value, supporting hundreds of grassroots clubs and proud sponsors of the GA Football Senior Championship.
We actively encourage competition here. It's a competitive environment. We've entered the Voice of the Welsh call centre competition.
If you sound like you believe it, then maybe they will too.
People have to have a passion. With some is DJing, with some is footballing, it might be ballet, it might be anything. They should be allowed to live their dreams. That energy that you get from the call centre, and you feel the buzz as soon as you open that door and come in, a lot of companies out there would wish they could bottle that.
The Call Centre, Monday at 9:20 on RTE2 and RTE2 HD.
Hi there. I'm a games developer with an IQ of 200, blah, blah, whatever. But even I can't figure out some of these pay-as-you-go offers. But thanks to Meteor, you don't have to be a genius to know that unlimited calls to any network or unlimited data for just a €10 top-up is pretty damn awesome. The other network offers make no sense to me. A bit like my ex dumping me just before I sold my game for $17 million made no sense to me. I'm using the money to fund my new website. It's called Bet You Wish You Didn't Cheat on Me with Jessica Snape Now, JohnFogarty.com/loser.
Choose your favourite Meteor unlimited offer for just €10 of your top-up.
Protecting your children in this crazy world isn't always easy, but thanks to Leia Healthcare, it just got a little bit easier. With our Essential Connect family scheme, new and existing members can get 50% off their children's health insurance. With family savings like that, it's no wonder we're Ireland's second largest healthcare insurance provider. Call today or go online and save 50%. Leia Healthcare, looking after you always.
Satisfy your thirst for great value with these refreshing offers at Londis. Like Pepsi 7-Up and Club Orange 6-pack cans, only €2.50. Tropicana Orange Juice 1 litre, just €2. And Budweiser and Carlsberg 6-pack cans, now an unbelievable €7.50. Raise a glass to great savings at Londis. Local like you.
Whatever you do, don't make a sound.
Sorry, they're nutty. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut. Delicious nutty flakes drizzled in honey. The trouble is, they taste too good.
Sophia? 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
After generations of brewing, you know how to craft the perfect pint.
Experience is what you do with it that counts.
Shoot. Follow the action across the world, live and on demand with GAA Go.
All right, the first pairing for this year's All-Ireland football semi-finals has been decided. Kerry will play Mayo on the 24th of August. And the key moment for me, or key period in this game for me, Kieran Whelan, was the start of the second half. It was all square at half-time, 8 points apiece. Then Mayo put on a bit of a sport. They put that distance to Cork.
They kicked from home. You know, they went 16-9 up, and I thought like they had a lot of good performances in their forward line. Andy Moran certainly came into the game in the second half. You know, Jason Doherty, Alan Dillon as well. You know, they kicked some really good scores from distance. There was Donald Vaughan just drifted in. Aidan Walsh lost track from a simple hand pass over the bar. They were in total control of the game, Michael, at that stage, and normally you would expect Mayo to really put the foot on Cork, and you were kind of expecting that Cork would have collapsed did in the Munster final. But credit to Cork, like they showed a bit of character today. They've taken a lot of stick over the last couple of months. Particularly down in Cork after the defeat to Kerry.
Mayo kept them in the game, Kieran.
They kept them in the game, but they
should have put them out of business.
They could have easily folded.
And it's this lack of
easily folded. You have to give them a credit. They showed a bit of courage to hang in there and get back into the game. Said Mayo should have closed out the game. They didn't. But this was the period that it's the third quarter. That's when games are won and lost, and that was the win in the game today.
And that 5 different points scored during that period too. So it showed that there is a spread of.
There is
a big problem we always said with Mayo was they couldn't score. Now they can't defend.
There's a worrying.
To paraphrase the Saw Doctors, will Mayo bait Kerry?
Well, normally Kerry come up here and not just beat Mayo, but absolutely devour them, and they have done so in the past. But I think Mayo are going to beat Kerry this time.
Joe?
Well, I think so. You know, save for that problem that needs to be cured. I mean, James Horan's got a really straightforward task. He's got a better all-round team in Kerry. He's got a far stronger midfield. He's got a team that defends very well in the middle third. Don't concede a lot of points because of that. But their big Achilles heel is in there, and you see what Kerry are capable of. So that's James Horan's homework. Work on that and make sure that it doesn't happen the next day, because he can shut them out completely in there. And then thereafter, Mayo would win. And I think also that Mayo now are at a stage where their full back line badly needs that confidence. The defence is lacking in confidence. It's okay being Neil McGee or Eamon McGee, because they know the troops are there, the cavalry are there. They can attack the ball with confidence. If it goes inside them, there's someone else there to pick up and come out with the ball. Mayo have problems in that regard, and as a result, what they lack as a team is ruthlessness. If you're not ruthless, you're not going to be All-Ireland champions. You saw what Donegal were like, you saw what Dublin were like last year when it came to it. Mayo need to be like that. They're very, very, very close to being All-Ireland champions, but they need to be that.
Do you agree, Kieran?
I don't think it's straightforward. I think any time you write Kerry off, they're dangerous, and they have a psychological edge on Mayo, which is also going to be important. But I do think that Mayo, they're in a nice position, that they've a lot to work on over the next couple of weeks. The expectation levels might have dropped a small bit compared to last year, the position they're in this time last year, and they may just have enough in the end.
All right, that's where we're going to have to leave it. And just before we do, let me tell you that you can see all of the action from today's quarterfinals here at Croke Park, plus yesterday's football qualifiers. That's on the Sunday game tonight, and that all begins, of course, at 9:30 here on RTE2. And do watch out for our Thank GA. It's Friday, you can see that. Guess what day? Fridays, of course, 8:30 on RTE2. And then next Sunday, we turn our attention to hurling. Will Kilkenny or Limerick book their place in this year's All-Ireland final? Well, it's one of the biggest games of the year, and it's live on RTE2 next week from 2:45. But for today, my thanks to Joe, to Kieran and to Colm, who have been here with me in studio. Well, it's all gone according to plan here at Croke Park today, just about. The favourites have come through this test. The Sam Maguire is a step closer. From all of us here at Croke Park for this Sunday.
We actively encourage competition here. It's a competitive environment. We've entered the Voice of the Welsh call centre competition.
If you sound like you believe it, then maybe they will too.
People have to have a passion. With some is DJing, with some is footballing, might be ballet, might be anything. They should be allowed to live their dreams. That energy that you get from the call centre and you